Been to Paris.
Have you? The tunnel?
Yeah, well, the bit above the tunnel.
Oh, you love a bit of dark tourism.
Yeah, it was like Eiffel Tower or Diana where she died.
Diana where she died.
Hello! Welcome to Believe, the Conspiracy Theory podcast. I'm Phil Green.
And I'm David Ferguson.
And this is a podcast all about the world's craziest conspiracy theories, isn't it?
Well, sometimes we're just telling you what happened.
Yeah.
That's like today.
And I know this is one you are already into because we've talked about this many times in the past.
Absolutely. This set me on the road of conspiracy theories. Today's episode.
From a young age, this was a trigger.
Absolutely.
Okay. In each episode, we bring on a fellow comedian. That comedian has picked a conspiracy theory they want to talk about. It might be a conspiracy theory they believe. It might be a conspiracy theory they don't believe, or it might just be a conspiracy theory they think is mad as shit, and they want to find out what the truth is. And we are here to find the truth, aren't we?
Yes, we are the shit verifiers.
The shit verifiers. Now, we are doing some live podcast shows early next year. If you would like to come along to those, how can people find tickets?
Well, I think you should be following our every move on social media. However, you can just look at the show notes and there'll be a link to wherever we are near you.
Absolutely. Please come along. It's a lot of fun. We've done a run of live shows at the Edinburgh Fringe this year. We do a lot of stuff that we're not allowed to put out on the main podcast, and it's a great ride, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, so much fun. And we love seeing you there because we're doing this for you, and it's really nice when you're there.
That's right. It's all for you.
It's all for you.
Now, where can people follow us on social media?
Oh, we're all over the socials. You can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Our handle there is Believe Conspiracy Pod.
Yeah, follow us on there. We post exclusive content about the conspiracies that we're talking about. Photos, videos, loads of stuff. We want to know what you think. We want to know your opinion. We want to know if you got the inside scoop. Tell us.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Tell us what you think the truth is. Disagree with us. We're fine with that. We just want to know your opinion, don't we?
Yes, it's a discussion. It's not an announcement.
Absolutely. And if you have some conspiracy theories that you would like us to cover on this very podcast, how can people get in contact with us for that?
Well, I like carrier pigeon or telepathy. But if you don't have either of those at hand, you can just contact us by email, which is believeconspiracypod@gmail.com.
Yes, let us know what conspiracies you want us to cover. We'll put them on our list. We will find a comedian that wants to come in and talk about that conspiracy, and we will put your mind at ease, won't we?
Oh, yes. That's what we're all about. The bad boys of podcasting are here to put your mind at ease.
That's what the bad boys of podcasting are here to do.
Absolutely.
Now, if you do enjoy this podcast, if you follow us for a little while, if you enjoyed some of the episodes, go onto Spotify, go onto Apple, go onto Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts, give us a little 5 stars. It just helps us to build the podcast, and we will love you eternally, won't we?
Yes, because we're comedians and we need the validation.
Now, a wonderful text here.
Ah, yes, the gentleman George himself.
Gentleman George himself, dressed very much like a bear today.
Oh, yeah. He's got the plaid shirt on. He's got a baseball cap. He's very, very handsome.
Because that's how bears dress.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, there is a uniform. There is a uniform, and he's looking
you don't
good.
conform to that uniform.
No, because I'm a terrible dresser.
You are a terrible bear.
I am a terrible homosexual in all counts.
And who is today? Let's get off this subject. Who is today's wonderful guest?
I think the surreal legend.
Yes,
that is Hatty Ashdown.
The wonderful Hatty Ashdown. Hatty is a comedian, MC, broadcaster, writer, and actor. So she's multi-talented.
Oh yeah.
She co-wrote and created the Comedy Central sitcom Give Out Girls. She's a regular on the London comedy scene and the UK comedy circuit. She starred in the BBC Radio 4 sitcom Romance and Adventure. She presents the Funny Mummies podcast and hosts Screaming with Laughter Comedy Club, the original daytime comedy club for parents where the baby can come too.
Oh, it makes me want to have children.
If only one of us had a baby, we could go along. But we don't, and it'd be weird if we did.
We could have a baby. Oh God, that would be so strange.
We'd be rubbish at that.
My
God.
Can't
get here on time.
I don't even want anyone touching my stuff. Like, I would not be a good parent.
And what is the conspiracy that Hatty has chosen?
The Princess Diana assassination.
Ooh. Let's bring on Hatty.
Get out of the rabbit hole.
It's a fake. Every single bird in the sky is a robot.
It's fiction.
Doubt your government.
It's an urban legend.
Like, they're actually spraying something in the sky?
No way.
A stream of absurdity.
It's a total fabrication.
Welcome to the podcast, Hatty Ashdown! She's here. She's here. She's ready for business.
I am.
Yeah, you're looking very smart.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, am I?
Yeah.
This is me Got my shoulder pad.
Got your shoulder pads.
cardigan.
You got your 90s shoulder pads.
It's always
going
sort
on.
of like, it's cardi, it's comfy, but it's a little bit smart.
It's a little bit smart, isn't it?
Because it's got shoulder pads in.
Yeah.
I love a shoulder pad.
Don't you?
Oh, love it. Love it. I'm a big Joan Crawford fan. So.
Yes.
So big shoulders are important.
Me
Haven't
too.
mentioned Joan Crawford for about 7
You
episodes.
actually haven't.
There you go.
You used to mention him every other episode, and we've gone through a barren period. So thanks for bringing that out.
That's all right.
It's appropriate. The shoulder pads are appropriate.
It's a little one.
The baby show. Tell me about this.
So you guys could come and do a set, but you wouldn't really want to come and
It would be
watch.
weird if we sat in the audience.
Yeah. So it's just set like a normal comedy club.
Yeah.
The main one we do at the moment is at the Bedford in Balham.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I love the
And
Bedford.
So it's a lovely.
That is literally 5 minutes from where I live.
Oh, well, you have to come do it then.
Come along, yeah.
So it's set like a normal comedy club. The only thing is that women and men, but it is mostly women,
Yeah.
are there with their babies.
Yeah.
They may have a boob out feeding them.
Yeah.
And it's relaxed, they can walk around with them and stuff like that. And the babies might scream a bit. And so the comedians have to be aware of that. And it can be a bit off-putting. It
Yeah.
puts off the flow. So it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
I've had many of brilliant comedians just go, it's not for me. But but I'm used to it now. But I took it over from Lucy Porter. She was
Okay.
doing it for years.
Was she? Okay.
And she gave it to me like 7 years ago. So I was like, okay. And so and we do pop-ups and, at festivals and stuff as well. And parties. One-year-old
nice.
parties.
Yeah. So this is like a mid-afternoon thing.
It's a mid-afternoon thing. So
What's the worst thing that's happened on one of those gigs?
the first thing that came to my mind was just a really bad an act who is again normally really good. I'm not going to say their name, but they didn't do very well,
Right.
And she didn't handle it very well, and
Right.
it was just such a bad atmosphere because she was just like, "This is awful. This is going awful." And we all know that's not good at a normal gig, but these mums are like tired and sleep deprived, and and they're not going to always sometimes.
And this actress had a bad set.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this person's just going, "This is awful," and it's like, "Oh God." So that was pretty bad, but no one's. Yeah, they're pretty good. They're pretty all right.
There's no nappies flying around the place or...
No, we haven't had poo thrown at us or something.
Yeah, okay.
Pulled out the...
That was interesting because I thought that would be the incident, but actually it was just an act.
I have to say, I've been in a psych ward and I have had human thrown at me.
That's nice.
Yeah, well, psych ward.
Yeah, fair point.
But this is why they're only allowed up until the age of 12, 13 months.
I thought you were about to say 12 or 13.
Because having had two toddlers myself, there is an age when they're toddlers. One toddler that came round to my house, not just randomly, there was with a parent.
Yeah.
And he was going for that. They go for this phase where they just want to pull poo out their nappy.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why we don't have toddlers.
Yeah, it's a fun phase for them.
Yeah.
You sure that wasn't a monkey, just to double check?
Probably. It was a little chipmunk.
Literally.
That's another story. It was a hairdresser. It was a mobile hairdresser who said, "Oh, I haven't got my sitter. Can I bring my baby with me?" And I was like, "Yeah, trying to support, workers, mums working, but not when they come around and smear poo out my wall."
There are limits.
You've long let go of the baby phase, but now you have to deal with babies on a regular basis as a result.
We've screamed with laughter, but it's quite nice because I get to have a little cuddle sometimes. We're all very nice. A lot of the acts are parents, but they don't have to be parents because, obviously these mums and dads are people too.
Yes.
And they don't want to just hear about parenting.
Yeah.
So it's an escape. So, it can make a lot of people broody or the other way.
Yeah. Do you do because you do character comedy sometimes, don't you?
Not really. This is a very new thing.
Is it?
I just seem like a character.
Well, because I think I've only seen you as you, but I know that you do characters because I've seen posters with you as a character.
Well,
right?
just this year, Edinburgh show.
Right.
Didn't start off as a character, but she has developed into a bit of a character, if you know.
Right, okay.
Which was the point. I did Edinburgh this year as work in progress. So it was like, oh, she seems to be a bit of a character.
What sort of character is she?
Well, I'm a game show host.
Yeah.
But where I'm quite nice on stage and warm, and that's what I've been described as warm. She said warm and charming.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like this game show character was a lot more brash.
Okay.
And I quite enjoyed it.
You give it license to be a bit of a dick.
Not a dick, just like a bit of back chat.
Okay.
People like it, don't they?
Yeah.
And flirt. And I like it because she's flirty, but with everyone, women and men.
Okay.
And
you find that easy to do that
I
in
was wearing a
character?
moustache, so
Nice.
that adds to the character.
Yeah, absolutely. Always does. So you find it a bit more freeing doing it as a character?
Yes and no. Yeah. In that environment of doing the game show,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
because maybe that's what I mean. If you think about all the great game show hosts in the past,
Yeah.
they are sort of putting on a character.
Yeah, absolutely.
In a way, they're not going into Tesco's going, let's look at the wall or whatever.
Dale Winton
Danny
probably
Dyer
did.
does.
Yeah. The wall.
The wall.
The wall.
Although, yeah,
Put it
Danny
on the
Dyer
wall.
is just that all the time, isn't he?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's not a good example,
Yeah.
but yeah.
He's a weird choice for a game show host, isn't he?
Yeah.
Dale Winton?
I actually the Danny Dyer.
Yeah.
I quite like The Wall. It's fucking mental. It's a ludicrous idea for a show, but I quite like it.
I'm a big Danny Dyer fan, although he is questionable at a point in time.
Yeah.
You know, but I've met Danny Dyer, and
I met him as well.
yeah, he's kind of exactly
Yeah.
as you expect him to be. and
Geezer, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah, it's not put on. It's just
no,
him.
that is him. Maybe it's up.
What did you meet? Well, how did you meet him?
He was at Fright Fest a couple of years ago. He was in a horror movie for 2 seconds, and it was the best part of the movie by light years. Like everybody lit up in the audience. It was really fun. And he was there. He was like, "Yeah, I'm helping my friends out." You know, it was before he did EastEnders, so that's a while ago, about 2013. I was 17 or something at the time.
I was quite young. I did that classic. I passed him on the stairs in a bar or something, and I went, I know you, don't I? I know you. We've done an audition together, haven't we? I think we did an audition together, and he went, yeah, babe, you just believe that. What?
Oh my God.
And then a few seconds later, I went, oh, fucking hell, that was Danny Dyer.
So did you? Oh, so you didn't know? You knew who you recognised him, but you weren't sure who he was.
Yeah.
Okay, right,
and then
okay.
afterwards, the penny drops, and it's like, oh yeah, it's Danny Dyer. But I did that classic thing of like, I know you from somewhere, don't I? Do that all the time.
Love it.
So embarrassing.
Conspiracies. What do you think about them?
I think I love look, I love things a bit mystical. Not saying it is mystical, because I know people, that believe it.
Yeah.
And I do believe certain ones, but unfortunately, you meet some desirable people
Yeah.
that it attracts.
Yeah. One here.
So I would say I really want to believe certain ones.
Okay.
But it's like, so I'll tell you a story when it was just after lockdown and things was just starting to get made. Yeah. And I was doing this advert and it was ridiculous. People were put in separate rooms because we were still being really careful.
Yeah.
It was at that time when a nurse came to my front door, did a swab test with me on my front door and then took it away. She couldn't come in or anything. She's all
right, yeah.
madness.
Yeah.
Just for this part in, those chicken snack things. I can't even remember what it was. Fridge Raiders.
Oh, yeah.
But it was a massive advert. It was like quite a big budget on it. And I was playing a florist.
Of course you were.
But we're sat outside and we'd been in costume and they're trying to keep us all separate. But then I sat near this woman and we sat there and something came over. So they'd put us in this sort of disused shopping centre. And then something came over the tannoy about COVID or something or other. And this woman went, well, she just turned to me. She went, I can't even remember exactly what she said, but it was something like, well, it's all a setup. They're trying to kill us or something like that, right? And straight away I go, shh, right, I'm in.
Yeah.
I love this person.
Tell me.
And everybody else starts listening as well.
Yeah.
And all I remember was that was all fine. It was like, oh, okay, different theories. But then she started to go on about lizards controlling the world and all just... And then it was like, oh, and then it goes on to, I live alone and my family don't talk to me.
Yeah.
And you're like, and then we lost everyone. Mm-hmm. Everyone just sort of got their phones out. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
I was still invested because I'm a comedian and you've got to listen to everything.
Yeah, well, maybe they've just left her because they don't want to hear the truth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So common.
So isolated, these people. It's a shame.
Then she turned into a lizard.
Yeah, exactly. Lizards can see lizards. So speaking of lizard people,
Yeah.
the royal family. So We should actually point out your mug, right? Normally, we give the guests a lovely Believe conspiracy theory branded mugs, but you have brought in.
Well, I saw that you have mugs, and I thought I want to bring my own mug.
Yeah, and we should describe it for the audio. Yes, please. It is a Princess Diana and Prince Charles commemorative wedding mug from, I'm guessing, 1982. When they got married?
1981 was it?
Was it 81?
Got my lipstick all over it.
Yeah. it's so faded we can't actually read the date.
1980. I can't even read that because I haven't got my readers.
I think it's 81 or 82.
81. 29th of July, 81.
Yeah, I remember the street party.
Someone actually gave this to me. I've got a few, but this was a recent one someone gave me, and I've crossed out Charles.
Oh, you have? You have. I mean, you should probably cross out Diana as well. But yeah, no, it's good. sorry.
Oh my!
No. That's probably worth quite a lot of money.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, I reckon.
I don't know. But yeah. So this, are we saying now? Well, you've said it, yeah.
I'm going to say it. So Princess Diana, often called the People's Princess, was an iconic figure who captured the hearts of millions. Her tragic death in a car crash on 31st of August 1997 shocked the world and left a legacy of sorrow and intrigue. The official explanation of her death, as concluded by the French and British authorities, was that it was an accident caused by her driver, Henri Paul, who was under the influence of alcohol and driving at high speeds while trying to evade paparazzi. However, almost immediately, conspiracy theories emerged, suggesting that Diana's death was not an accident, but a deliberate assassination attempt orchestrated by MI6, the British Secret Intelligence Service, with the tacit approval of the British royal family. So...
A tacit approval?
Yeah.
Tacit mean?
Don't know. Sometimes the internet comes up with words, I just read them out.
Yeah, they knew but couldn't... Oh, yes, it's fine. Yeah, you can go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Queen Elizabeth I, not this Queen Elizabeth, signing the death warrant for...
Her sister.
For Mary Queen of Scots.
Yeah.
And she said she didn't know that she signed it. She absolutely knew she
Bullshit.
signed it. Yeah.
I mean, I just think from the beginning of time, and I'm not a historian, I know it may surprise you because I look like one, but the royal family, love or hate them, and maybe love them for this, they've always been a bit dodgy. I mean, they've
done some dark shit, haven't they?
Had his wife's heads chopped off. They just do what they want.
Yeah.
And
are you a royal family fan or are you a Diana fan?
I would say I was brought up a royalist, very much a royalist of my mum. I'm clearing out my mum's house now because she's run off. No, she died. Bring it down, Hattie. But there's bags and bags of magazines. Hello magazine.
Hello magazine.
Yeah, when it would be like different royal weddings.
Right, yeah.
So my mum was a big romantic, and also my mum was the generation where the Queen meant everything. So it's all that connected to it. But I would say for me, probably was more Diana.
Yeah.
And then what they did to Diana.
Yes.
I've turned me off them.
That changed your opinion. Interesting. I think for our generation, that's quite common. Because old people love the royal family, right? I think when a lot of people's eyes, the royal family can do no wrong. Like, it has to be Prince Andrew level for them to actually dismiss a member of the royal family.
And even that, they're like, oh, well, he was misled.
Exactly, yeah. But I think that our generation, because we lived through this and we were sort of a more impressionable age, I think this changed a lot of people's opinion of the royal family.
Because we thought, oh, she's so cool.
Yeah.
And she was she wasn't quite the kind of like commoner or whatever. She did come from a wealthy family.
Yeah.
But what they like to project was that she's just a normal person.
Yeah.
And she's
Lady
so loving.
Diana Spencer was just a normal person. Yeah.
And we'd never really seen any royals be affectionate with their children and stuff like that. It was all just like, oh God. And yeah, I think but that's what the royal family's always represented, isn't it? Like a reflection of your life. And I think around about that time, my sister, she's got 2 boys at about similar age. So there was like that reflection as well.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, she's just like me. And yeah. And
Do you remember where you were?
of course.
Where were you?
When she died?
Yeah.
I was staying at my friend's house and I was staying on the sofa.
Because it was a Sunday that was announced.
It was a Sunday, wasn't it?
Yeah, because I would come in from clubbing. That's my overriding memory.
Yeah.
And my mum came in crying. And my mum's not a royalist because Northern Ireland. And she went, Princess Diane's dead. And I went, who's Princess Diane?
I had a real joke. I'd been staying on my friend's, got a bit drunk, stayed on my friend's couch. And I just remember him coming in. He's a bit of a joker. So he came in and just went, Miss Diane's dead. Like this. And I was like, what are you talking about? But I think for them watching TV, there'd been it wasn't just she's dead. There was a first broadcast of saying she's been taken.
In an accident. Yes,
There's
it
been
was.
a
It was.
crash.
It was.
Yeah.
It
So
was
that was quite shocking. And then it was like, oh my, what? And I just went, no. And went straight back home to be with my family. And
At their time of need.
yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the other things I found, and I was meant to bring it with me when I was clearing out my mum's house, was I like to write poems when I was younger, as you do.
Yeah.
Rattling with teenage emotions and early 20s emotions.
Yeah.
And I've written a poem about Diana dying.
Well,
Sorry.
do you know what you could do? You could film yourself reading it out, and we could edit it in.
Oh God, I don't know if anyone needs to hear it. But let's just say there was a line, "Oh, die, oh, why did you have to die?"
Wow.
I mean, it was heavy stuff.
Why didn't you carry on with the poetry?
Oh my gosh.
That kind of prose.
Why did I not go into poetry?
Fucking Wordsworth.
There was stuff about you've left your boys behind, but we will look out for them and all this sort of stuff. So anyway, I went up to Kensington Palace. Yeah, with my sister. We took flowers.
Yeah.
Laid them down.
Yeah.
We're part of that. I'm not that sort of person now.
No, but like I even signed the commemorative book. Like
you?
she was only 37. She was the mother of two young boys.
37?
Yeah, like I can't even imagine being as young as 37 anymore. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to be gone. And she had done so many good things.
Yeah.
Like her work with people with HIV and AIDS was phenomenal. In the United States, it was sort of Liz Taylor did that, but in the UK, it was Princess Diana.
She was a film star for us as well.
And I mean, the newspapers hounded her and loved her. You couldn't read a British newspaper without her being in it every 2 days. Like it was constant. But I mean, she took that power and used it for good, which is why I actually have a lot of time for her.
Yeah.
Because she did help with HIV and AIDS, because that's completely forgotten.
She wanted purpose, didn't she? She felt lost and she wanted
Yeah.
to bring something to the world, didn't she?
The landmine things.
Yeah.
That had been going on for years,
Yeah.
and she went, "No, I want to stop this," and she changed. Blair had to listen to her. About it, and she took her power and she used it for good, and she also wore some really gorgeous dresses.
Oh, didn't she?
Not early on.
Not early on, it was all frou, but like that the revenge dress, the black dress off
Yeah,
the shoulder.
yeah, yeah.
Oh my god,
yeah,
that's today. Or the photographs in front of the Taj Mahal, like she was so elegantly dressed, and for a woman who wasn't pretty, because she was very Romanesque looking. She. With those big eyes and anyway, I'm getting a bit gay on her, but I love someone who wears a nice frock,
Yeah.
right? And we don't have that anymore, except maybe Meghan Markle, and that's not really what the royal family
That's a whole
wants.
different thing.
That's a whole different
Yeah,
thing.
but it's kind of connected.
It's
But
kinda
I mean,
connected.
if
It
you
is linked,
want to
you're
go
right there.
there,
Yeah.
come on.
Got to be careful. History repeating itself. Anyway.
Yeah.
The conspiracy theories around Meghan Markle. Oh, that's a whole other episode.
The foundation of this conspiracy theory, the theory that MI6 orchestrated Diana's death, is largely based on the belief that certain elements of the British establishment, particularly the royal family, were uncomfortable with Diana's relationship and her outspokenness. At the time of her death, Diana was romantically linked with Dodi Fayed, the son of Egyptian billionaire Mohammed al-Fayed, Iran, as we know. The relationship between the two had attracted media attention, and there were rumours that they were planning to get engaged or that Diana might be pregnant. Proponents of the theory argue that such a union was seen as a threat to the British monarchy. The notion of a mother of the future British king, Prince William, being involved with a Muslim man was allegedly unacceptable to the British establishment. This claim is central to the conspiracy. Diana was supposedly silenced before she could further challenge or embarrass the royal family.
Let's unpick the pregnancy thing.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on it first?
So it certainly makes sense. You connect the dots. That would be why they would take her out. However, I don't. A very, very close friend of Diana's has categorically said there's no way that she was pregnant. However, there's that absolutely iconic photograph of her, out in the middle of the sea on the yacht, and the paparazzi take a photograph, and she's completely on her own. It's a beautiful, exquisite photo that describes her situation. And she had actually spoken to the paparazzi because they came up in a boat.
Yeah,
and
she'd allowed that to happen. Hasn't
yeah,
she?
and she said to them that that I'm going to be announcing something that's going to rock your world. And like a week later, she was dead. So that's part of the reason why the conspiracy theory sort of started, and the idea that she would be pregnant would be like, I mean,
that would be about as big as it could possibly get.
Yeah.
Bigger really than saying I'm going to marry Dodie.
Yeah, because,
Well, because she, maybe it's been the other way around. She'd be pregnant before she's got married to him. But the evidence for it not being true is there was blood in the footwell or whatever. They tested that blood and they said there was no pregnancy, because you can
the
get
hormones,
hormone pregnancy hormones, but what, just from you can't go by that. Like, I know of people that go for pregnancy tests and it's like didn't show up that time and then it showed up the next time. What's the other one? They've that she had a housekeeper. There's always something like a housekeeper said there was some contraceptive pills. Well, just because you have contraceptive pills in your bag as a woman doesn't mean that you're using them at that time.
And they're only 99% effective. Condoms aren't fully effective,
So, but in order for the royal family to know she was pregnant, either she would have had to have told them, which feels like because if she was pregnant at all, it would have been a very, very early pregnancy. Right?
Yeah.
So they would have had to find that out somehow. And whether she would have told them, that seems unlikely.
She was being spied on. And
that's just where the MI6 involvement thing.
Yeah, she was definitely being spied on. And that's kind of been announced. But she was an incredibly important figure, And if they were going to assassinate her, of course they're going to know her every move. No. Sorry.
But also, I just think that the security around her, when it's the royal security, was better, and it sort of feels like it was more loosey goosey, flimsy, if that's the official term, with al-fayed people. Do you know what I mean? Like, because there was all this, we're on a boat and then we're going on this boat, and whereas with the royal security, everything's so checked ahead. I just feel like it was just a bit looser. And because she was a bit wild, I imagine she had that side to her to go along with things.
I mean, you imagine living with Charles and all his hang-ups. Like, he's not a well man, like he's mental. He's a member of the royal family, of course he's mental. But to have that freedom to finally get away from it all, like when she started taking her power back, when, the interview and, her book, the Andrew Morton book, which I read, which astounds me.
Well, everybody read it at the time.
Yeah, it was essential. It was essential. It was Harry Potter before Harry Potter.
One of the most prominent proponents of the conspiracy theory is Mohammed al-Fayed, or was Mohammed al-Fayed, I should say, Dodie's father, who publicly stated his belief that the crash was an assassination orchestrated by MI6 under orders from the royal family. His accusations have centered on several key points. Diana's fear for her life. Diana herself had expressed fears that she was being targeted. In a letter written to her former butler, Paul Burrell, in 1995, 2 years before her death, Diana claimed that she feared a plot to kill her in a car accident. She wrote, "This phase in my life is the most dangerous. My husband is planning an accident in my car, brake failure and serious head injury in order to make the path clear for him to marry Tiggy," which we assume is Camilla.
Yeah.
Well, who else?
Nickname.
Yeah. While some argue that Diana's note shows she had genuine concerns, others believe it reflects her mental state at the time and her growing paranoia. Her paranoia was quite well documented, isn't it? She was kind of very fearful. But it is very specific if it did say that. Yeah. But then, here's my thought on this, is like, if they must have known that note existed, right? So why would you then choose to stage her death with the exact thing that she said they were going to do? Do you know what I mean?
Because that would be the alibi then. Well, that's just ridiculous. There's no way that she would die in exactly the way she said she was going to die. If we were going to do that, we'd have done something else.
Okay.
Yeah, because she was used to being hounded by the press. So it's just a perfect alibi, like you say. I think, sorry, my head was thinking about something to do with this. I was like, you start thinking about all the different theories. But
maybe they thought, that's a good suggestion.
I've been there, by the way.
Do that.
I've been to Paris.
Have you? To the tunnel?
Yeah, well, the bit above the tunnel.
Oh, you love a bit of dark tourism.
Yeah, it was like Eiffel Tower or Diana where she died.
Diana where she died.
And there's like it's crazy because Fayed has made it like this
Of course he has.
memorial thing on the bridge.
Yeah.
I think probably Parisians hate it.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't known for not being tacky.
Yeah, I mean,
have you seen Harrods?
I don't like him, and I think some of it is probably, obviously we don't like him, but he was a bit mad, and I don't believe all of it. But I think the seatbelt thing is just a little bit too convenient. About they didn't have the seatbelts. Well, supposedly they didn't have them on.
Yeah.
But then another theory is that they had them on, but they were faulty.
Yeah.
Or particularly her one was faulty. They did find a faulty thing, but they're saying it could have been after the crash. They don't know if that faultiness in the... But I think it was just on hers. So it would look like she didn't put them on because apparently she was a click girl.
Because the way that they came out of the hotel, it was all very rushed, wasn't it? They came out the back, they were rushed into a car. They were tricking the paparazzi, were trying to trick the paparazzi, weren't they? With like, she's going to come out the front and then... the car came out the back and they were driving away quickly. So it all happened very quickly. According to The Crown, she was told only at that point, this is the way we're going, and she was rushed into it, and maybe that flustered her, we don't know. But that actually might not be true. It might have all been carefully planned. She knew what she was doing. She's very calm about it. We don't know. But the seatbelt theory is a very, very common one.
Yeah.
The role of Henri Paul, the driver of the car that crashed, had been a focal point of the conspiracy theory. French authorities determined that he was under the influence of alcohol and prescription drugs at the time of the crash. However, some conspiracy theories argue that Paul was an MI6 informant and that his toxicology reports were fabricated to cover up the involvement of British intelligence. They suggest that Paul may have been part of the plot, intentionally driving the car into a situation that would lead to that fatal crash. Seems
but then
risky.
why would he die as
Exactly.
well?
It seems
That's
risky,
the
doesn't
only
it?
bit that I'm... But was he... Because, he was driving. Maybe he was not meant to die.
No, well, there are MK Ultra and people.
How do you crash a car where you don't die?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But there are people, like there are suicide missions, This is are you familiar with MK Ultra?
Yeah.
Which is a
That's like a deodorant.
yeah, right. And MK Ultra, it was a US program about training soldiers to be super soldiers. So if you've watched the Manchurian Candidate, the Angela Lansbury version is much better than the Meryl Streep version. If you watch the Manchurian Candidate, you see people being programmed, and that's been discussed a lot. Like the murder of Bobby Kennedy, his assassin wasn't his assassin; it was other people, and that's another episode that we haven't done yet. But it's by programming people to do things. So you can program someone to be drive at ridiculous speed and kill themselves, like the 13th pillar and all that. Like there's lots of esoteric things about where Diana died, where they died was a site for human sacrifice, like 2,000 years ago. Like it's all in there, and he could be programmed to do that because the only person to survive the crash was Diana's bodyguard, and he has no memory of it.
No,
because programming.
How convenient.
Yeah,
Is that what he says? He's got no memory. I didn't know
he
that.
had brain damage.
Yeah,
so like he was very badly injured. But also MK Ultra programming and MK Ultra's United States. I'm saying that the MI6 would have had their own version of it. Which they do. That is documented, but I can't remember what it's called.
So they would have had to place him there because he wasn't the driver. They were
No, he was last minute.
Last minute.
Yeah.
They'd have to place him there at the scene, and they would have had to some way plan the route he was going to do. And somebody would have had to make the suggestion to go there, which we understand was Dodie. So that's a lot.
It's basically he waved to the photographers when he came out, even though it was like, we'll go out the back way.
Yeah.
Supposedly he waved, which they
think he knew.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think?
I'm not 100%. I believe them all. I believe that it wasn't an accident.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm not quite sure how. and you could tie yourself up in all the different things. I think it's just all that money and that you think, really, what? There was only a pissed person that could. I do believe he was drunk.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was like a happy accident.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. Like, okay, this is quite what we planned. But
Improv,
let's go with it.
Improv.
Yeah, improv.
Yeah.
Yes, and
Yeah. Okay, so the circumstances surrounding the crash have been scrutinised by conspiracy theorists. One major point of contention is the presence of a mysterious white Fiat Uno that witnesses report seeing in the tunnel where the crash occurred. Conspiracists argue that this vehicle may have played a role in causing the crash by obstructing Diana's car. Despite extensive investigations, the Fiat was never conclusively identified, leading to speculation that it was part of a deliberate plot.
Yeah.
So this Fiat Uno comes up in a few theories about this, doesn't it? It's not just this one specifically. It's not just that it obstructed it. It's also the theory that it might have had a flashing light coming out of it or something like that, right? So it's not. Hasn't just come from one source. The presence of this vehicle, has it?
No. And the flashing light thing does make sense. That is, sadly, I know somebody who lost something because of light shining their eye, and it made them swerve.
Yeah.
And they died. And so that is obviously a thing.
Yeah.
And it's a very easy thing to set up when you've got somebody who's often hounded by the press and paparazzi to just slip in that. You know what I mean? No one would suspect.
No. And what was the thing about the CCTV cameras in the tunnel? They were off?
yes.
Oh,
all of them are off, but it's not just in the tunnel. Pretty much that area of Paris, all of them are off. I can't remember. There was a member of the French police. That's a really naive way of saying it, but follow me through with this. Saying that it just happened to be that was maintenance that night, but this is CCTV cameras. Like they were switched off so that they could do whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
You know, I mean that's the real.
Ooh, I love it.
That's the real thing that makes me go, oh come on, like that was deliberate. That was deliberate.
It does seem like an amazing coincidence that, because actually I think the footage they've got is of her coming out the back of the hotel, and then there's some footage of them heading towards the tunnel. But then, as you said, the camera's close to the tunnel. There's no footage, and there are none of the ones in the tunnel.
Yeah. And may I point out, this was a very important person.
Yeah, that's what.
And they were like, "Oh, no, we'll test the security cameras." No, they turned those security cameras off so they could do what they did. Absolutely.
Or is it possible they were on, and that was the excuse that was given for the footage not getting rid?
There's that as well.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
I've lost the tapes.
because she was.
And Hattie would definitely watch that footage.
Oh yeah. Well, they're talking about losing the tapes. Like they lost the tapes to the moon landing. Come on, like it's.
That is true. They did lose the tapes to the moon landing. Yeah.
Maybe it's because it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Have you done that one?
Yeah, we done that one.
I do believe that we went to the moon, but the footage that we see was recorded by Stanley Kubrick or whoever.
Agree.
Fucking hell. It's much harder when there's two of you.
Sorry.
MI6.
Hattie, this is the first time. This is the first time I've been on the winning side. Like, it just, so I love you in ways I can never actually vocalize.
You're welcome, darling.
George, we're sticking together on this one, mate. MI6 involvement. Former MI6 officer Richard Tomlinson has claimed that MI6 had been monitoring Diana, and he pointed to similarities between Diana's crash and the assassination plans he had seen during his time in the service. In particular, he noted that MI6 had previously planned an assassination on a foreign leader that involved causing a car crash in a tunnel by blinding the driver with a strobe light. While this testimony has intrigued conspiracy theorists, it has largely been dismissed by official investigations.
Of course, official investigations are going to deny that thing that you're talking about. That couldn't possibly be what we're doing.
Yeah.
Of course. Sorry, I got very emotive there.
Oh, you did.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Obviously any official investigation isn't going to say that because it's MI6. They can't release that kind of information. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it is interesting. He's a real snitch, this bastard, isn't he?
Yeah.
I'm sure when you leave MI6, you've got to, you surely sign your life away. Like
NDAs and whatever. But there were
more than NDAs though, isn't it, for that kind of intelligence?
Yeah, like you could be assassinated for that. Like the idea that we don't politically kill people is ridiculous because we do. People get killed all the time because it's expedient. And
car crash is quite an elaborate way to do it, though, isn't it?
But it's not that hard to do. Like all you have to do is cut brake wires or like with Henry Henry, get him drugged and drugged, and maybe have him trained to crash into something. Like, it's not with. I mean, he.
But there's always the risk that it didn't work. Do you know what I mean? That she survived. That's
and
the
do
thing.
it the next time.
What, 2 crashes?
Yeah, do it
I
again.
mean, they were meant to go somewhere. Supposedly, they were meant to go somewhere else, wasn't they? And they changed the route. So I wonder whether that's connected to what they originally had planned. But like I said, improv. That's why that wave is kind of like, right, we're going to do this,
Yeah.
So I just wonder whether that's connected.
So yeah, the fact that the route did change, and who suggested the route change?
Well, according to the Crown,
Yeah.
which we don't know, obviously, is probably not that true, is that they changed restaurants.
Yeah, Dodie had made the suggestion, or something like that, I think, or someone had made the suggestion.
They didn't like it or
Yeah.
something. They were
Yeah.
like, oh no, it's too. People were watching and stuff. They wanted to go somewhere a bit more. They just went back to the hotel or something. They were going to go back to the hotel.
I think that was what they decided actually not to go where they were going. And go
That's
back
right.
to the
They were
hotel.
going to eat at the hotel, and they didn't like it, so they decided to go somewhere else, and that's when the car got called and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, in The Crown, they very much sell it as she wasn't really interested in the relationship. It was a bit of fun. She almost certainly wasn't pregnant, and she turned down his marriage proposal. That was their narrative.
I actually think that's probably the case. I think they were at the end of their relationship.
Yeah, I do.
When Dodi al-Fayed. I wanted to go to Harrods before we filmed this to see if they still have the there was a monument.
I wouldn't go there at the moment.
No, but there was a monument to the engagement ring.
Yeah. Oh.
But I mean, because this was like 20 years ago. Are you familiar with this at all? So there used to be a monument at the basement of Harrods at the bottom of the big escalator. So Dodi al-Fayed's big addition to Harrods was he put in a central escalator, which transformed the store. So I helped get, because basically what would come in, if you would shop in Harrods as a tourist, you come in, you'd go to the ground floor as you come in, and then you'd have to go upstairs or get the lift to go to any of the other floors, and you didn't do that.
No.
So none of the other floors were getting any sort of attention. And Dodi al-Fayed came in, went, I'm going to do a massive escalator. It's very, very central. There's loads of pharaohs. It's very Egyptian-y. There's loads of pharaohs with his face on it. But at the very base of the escalators was a tribute to his dead son, which, okay, fair enough, and to Diana's engagement ring. And I wanted to see if it's still there, because he no longer.
It was there last time I went there, but that would have been about 10 years ago.
Yeah. Because the escalators listed, it can't be altered. So, but I don't know if that monument was part of it being listed. Like, so I wanted to know if it was still there. I suspect that it's not, but
why? Why would it be taken away?
Because it's no longer in his company. I know he's no longer with us, but when they
sold Harrods.
Yeah, when they got rid of the royal seal. I worked for Harrods many years ago.
The Dodi-fied statue, I can imagine, would be a difficult thing for them to justify taking down. They were like, thanks for the business. We're going to get rid of this statue of your dead son.
Yeah, not straight away, but they're like,
yeah, well, we'll just froze it out
working
slowly.
on that. Someone just shove a sheet over it for now.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact that the escalator is listed. You cannot change it. It has to be those specs. But I don't know that the monument at the very bottom of the escalators, which would be in this
we have
second
to
basement.
find this out.
So, and I really wanted to go before, but I actually don't know. Actually, that's something that you can email us about.
Yeah.
Send us photographs.
He's got taste, that man, hasn't he? Yeah. Fucking hell. Okay, so the role of the royal family. At the heart of the conspiracy theory is the idea that the royal family had a motive to eliminate Diana. Some theorists argue that Diana's increasing independence, her outspokenness on issues such as landmines, and her romantic involvement with Dodi Fayed were seen as a threat to the monarchy's reputation. Diana's relationship with the royal family had been fraught ever since her separation from Prince Charles, and her supporters believe that her outspokenness and popularity made her a dangerous figure in the eyes of the establishment. Dangerous seems extreme.
She was extraordinarily popular. I mean, it's hard to imagine now. It just, she was more popular than Taylor Swift. And I say that as she was.
She was.
She was, though.
Yeah.
And had better music. And no. I am joking. But yeah, she was so deeply loved, and
Yeah.
I'm coming from Northern Ireland. We're not royalists.
Yeah,
some of us really are. And but like I really did love Diana, and I really I'm I hated what happened to her before she died, and
She was so popular.
Yeah.
people really
And
loved
she
her.
probably did play up to it, but then part of the reason for that is to because she knew she was a public figure, she was championing causes, she wanted to bring attention to those things, right?
Yeah, and she did, like I mentioned about HIV and the AIDS and the landmines, and she seemed to be a force for good.
Yeah.
And she was very outspoken.
The royal family do not like that.
And the royal family do not like that. Ask Meghan Markle.
So there is a theory that the paparazzi deliberately caused her death. Do you know about this one?
Little bit.
Okay, so the theory that the paparazzi deliberately caused the death of Princess Diana suggests that the aggressive pursuit of Diana and her companion Dodi Fayed by photographers played a more direct role in the fatal car crash than the official narrative acknowledges. This theory is fueled by the widely known fact that Diana was relentlessly pursued by the paparazzi both on the night of her death and throughout her life. This version of events, paparazzi intentionally caused the crash by engaging in reckless and dangerous behaviour. They were chasing the car in an attempt to capture exclusive photos of Diana and Dodi, who were being driven through Paris by their chauffeur, Henri Paul. This theory suggests that the paparazzi either directly caused the crash through their actions, such as blocking the car's path or forcing it to speed up, or contributed significantly to the circumstances that led to the accident. Although some elements of this theory overlap with the official investigation, which concluded that paparazzi were pursuing Diana's vehicle, theorists argue that the role of the photographers was far more deliberate and malicious than what was officially accepted.
So that they were in on it in some way?
They were in on it.
That's what I've often thought.
Yeah. So the idea is that they were intentionally chasing the car in order to get the car to speed up, which it would do.
Yeah.
And potentially they might have blocked the path or driven in a way that sort of pushes the car towards a certain angle.
But were some of those photographers MI6?
That's the theory, or MI6, or working for somebody.
Yeah, working for somebody.
That's the idea, right? That they use the paparazzi as a way of getting the car to crash.
Yeah.
Again, this one to me seems even more of a risky strategy than the driver, because the driver, you could intentionally crash a car if you really wanted to. Right?
Yeah.
But for the paparazzi to steer. To orchestrate it in a way that it steers it to almost because it would have to be a very specific location in order for it to work, and then for it to succeed would be a lot of coordination, wouldn't it? And you just wouldn't know the parameters. You wouldn't on the night. You just wouldn't know what was going to happen.
No, I mean one of the interesting things I remember George Clooney talking about. The paparazzi after Diana died, like there's a famous thing where he's sort of given a lecture to the owner of or the editor-in-chief of the National Enquirer, and he's saying, you created this situation with hungry paparazzi chasing everybody around. At the same time, the artist Madonna had a song called Drowned World, and the video actually got pulled because it's her being chased by paparazzi. This came out at the same time. So the idea of paparazzi being this vicious thing that was hounding people was very much there, especially when newspapers had to be sold and magazines had to be sold. We're in a different world now. That's not the way it is. And celebrity doesn't really exist the way that it did then. But the idea that you had to get that perfect picture of Diana.
Yeah.
What we're talking about, I've mentioned her, the photograph, very famous photograph of her on the boat. That was just one very famous photograph of Diana.
Yeah.
And like a couple of years before, the Daily Mirror put in cameras in the gym that Diana was working out in and Daily Mirror, I gotta love them for this, turned around and said, we wanted to show like how her security was lax. That's why we took all these really gratuitous photographs of a young woman on an exercise.
They're saints, the Mirror.
They're
they always have been.
And then
good of them.
Yeah.
And when they got the backlash.
That's Piers Morgan for you.
Oh my gosh. Well, when they got the backlash, this is my favorite thing. They then got a Diana lookalike to recreate the photographs so that they could publish pretty much the same photographs. I'm not making this up. And they were like, we were trying to defend Diana. No, you weren't. You wanted to get a salacious picture of her a little bit sweaty with maybe her nipples poking through. Oh, sorry, I don't mean to be unkind, but it was salacious what they were doing. And then they went, but we were trying to protect Diana. No, you weren't. You were trying to sell newspapers, which they did, but they also got wrapped over the knuckles for it. But it was just this. The reason I mention that is this idea that she was just hounded in a way. Actually, we can't really we can't really describe, because everybody has a smartphone now. So you take or a camera phone. So you take a photograph, and the paparazzi are kind of depowered now.
Yeah.
But the idea, what's happened? Well, what if we got her in a car crash and seeing her getting treated? I could believe that. That's not what happened. The MI6 and
because what feeds into this theory a lot is the fact that in the official report, the role of the paparazzi is played down. Right, because a lot of people at the time before the report came out, and Earl Spencer, he blamed the paparazzi. I know her sons, a lot of her friends were sort of saying she was hounded. They caused the death. And actually, when the official report came out, it plays down their involvement in the crash, which is feeding into the theory that they were in on it.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So trying to sort of steer people away from it. No, it was just a drunk driver, and it was a big accident, actually. What do you think is more likely, Hattie? Do you think it's more likely that it was the driver of the car or the way that was set up rather than the paparazzi? Or it could have been both.
I think it's a little bit of everything.
You like a mix.
And that sounds like a cop-out. Yeah. But there's something in it for me that I do think in the change of the plans, that whatever they did have planned didn't go to plan, and I also wonder whether he was, because he had a drink because he thought he'd finished.
Yeah.
So I do think that was real. That wasn't planned, and then it was like, I'll just still drive and go on with the plan. Maybe but I do think there was a little bit of improvisation. But I believe the light thing. I think. The light thing, but I do wonder whether, was there pictures of her, dare I say, surely there was all this paparazzi there. Didn't anyone take any pictures of her?
Oh, they did.
In the car?
They did. And
what happened?
So there have been some that have come, been leaked kind of thing, and they've been dismissed as setups,
because if she didn't have a seatbelt on, surely she would have gone flying through the
and they were in the tunnel for a very long time, and then when they were moving her in the ambulance, they took an incredibly long time to get where they were going.
Yeah, and that's one of the other reasons why people suspect
took nearly 2 hours or something.
Yeah.
I mean, there are reasons to drive an ambulance slowly, especially if there's heart situations going on, but I think they were waiting for her to die. I'm really sorry, but I do.
The flash of light theory. So an intriguing detail often included in this theory is the claim that a bright flash of light blinded Henri Paul just before the crash. Some witnesses reported seeing a blinding flashing light in the tunnel. While this flash could have come from a camera, conspiracy theories argue that it might have been a deliberate act by one or more paparazzi to disorientate the driver. This aspect of the theory ties into other conspiracy claims, including suggestions that the intelligence services or shadowy figures used a strobe light to blind the driver, but in the context of the paparazzi theory, it is proposed that the photographer's camera flash could have caused the fatal loss of control. Which it could have been, but that also could have been an accident.
Yes.
That could have just been a driver that got ahead of the car, was taking a picture from the front, and that flash is the thing that disorientated him.
My thing about the paparazzi doing it, and I'm not saying it's out of the question, is, I mean, the glass was tinted. This wasn't Diana's first rodeo. I mean, it just wasn't.
Yeah, that's true.
The flashing cameras were a thing at the time. So it was CCTV footage that disappeared. Anyway, so I don't know that I buy that. I think if there was a flash that everyone commented on, that would have been something other than a camera flash. That just bugs the heck out of me.
It's the fact that it's in the tunnel as well. How convenient that it happened in the tunnel.
Yeah.
That's the thing as well, isn't it?
Hit the 13th pillar.
Yeah.
Esoteric.
All of those things, the fact that it's in the tunnel, the cameras weren't on, there's no photographic evidence that we've seen. The ambulance took a long time to take her out. All of those things. The fact that they were going a different route or the route changed last minute. These are the things that feed into the whole conspiracy about it, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That proved that she was murdered.
In the immediate aftermath of the crash, 7 paparazzi were arrested and charged with manslaughter and failure to assist at the scene of the accident. These were real pieces of work. Yeah. So they were basically taking pictures while... instead of actually helping.
No.
Yeah, because obviously they were there.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, because they were there way before the ambulance, obviously, because they were following her. And so instead of actually helping or trying to get her out, they were just taking pictures.
Yeah, if you watch the movie Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal, it's one of his best movies. Yeah, I love it. You get to see the mindset of paparazzi because he's a crime scene
But doesn't he start? He starts orchestrating accidents though in that film.
Yeah, he fucks shit up. Yeah,
Yeah.
He does it deliberately. It's all set up because that's what sells.
Yeah. Do we think people do that?
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes.
Well, people would take the pictures.
But do we think that there are photographers or paparazzi, as I'm not saying this specific example,
Yeah, but just in general.
that would intentionally cause accidents or events just to get photographs of dark stuff to sell newspapers?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not death.
Yeah.
But set up. I mean, we sort of know there's been drug set up situations, don't we? Where they've set someone up to be a celebrity to be taking drugs or whatever and then taking pictures of that. Definitely.
Yeah.
So I think, putting certain celebrities in situations.
Yeah.
Definitely.
They're the lowest of the low,
But-
aren't they? Some of them.
Yeah, well, you know, whatever brings your money in.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not condoning it, but you know, the more sensational, the better. You know, like that's why I love Chapel Roan. She was at the VMA. She was on the red carpet, and someone said something to her, and she told them to fuck off. And I went, "You Chapel, I love you," because Chapel Roan is one of the greatest. And do you know what I'm talking about? You did
No.
No.
Oh my god! So Chapel
But you
Roan.
do keep mentioning Chapel Roan.
I don't understand how you don't get on board. She's the greatest.
sorry. Aware of Chapel Roan's existence. Don't know the story.
She was at the VMAs and someone told her to do something. She was talking too long to an assistant. Says, "You need to shut the fuck up." And she went, "Don't you?" And she went in his face. "Don't you tell me what told me to fuck up." And she spoke up against him because she's awesome. But the idea why that guy thought he could speak to her that way, I don't know. I mean, she's Chapel Roan. Fuck off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's also the theory that Diana faked her own death.
Oh.
Yeah, heard that one?
No.
Okay, fine. So the central premise behind the theory that Diana's well-documented struggle with life in the royal family and a difficult relationship with the press, theorists believe she faked her own death to escape from this relentless attention. Conspiracy theorists point to several key elements of the crash that they claim were suspicious or unexplained, and which could support the idea that Diana faked her own death. So a delay in the medical assistance. Some suggest that the delay in getting Diana to the hospital, despite her being conscious after the crash, might have been a part of a plan to give her time to disappear.
This is the sort of thing my lizard friend would be.
She would have been all over this, wouldn't she?
Yeah, I'm sure she had something about Michael Jackson was still alive somewhere.
I could believe Michael Jackson being still alive.
She had a list of them, of different ones that were all alive. Like they were all just hanging out on this island. Elvis, all of them. Yeah, I mean, she wouldn't leave her boys. She wouldn't leave her boys. No.
But they might be in on it though. They might know. Maybe they go to visit.
Look at William and Harry. Do they look like they had a mother? I think they look like little boys that don't have mommy.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
they do. I mean, we all know obviously that Prince Charles isn't Harry's dad, but that's another
we know
theory. That's another one we can talk about.
Which might be, yeah.
Well, so there are some witness contradictions. The inconsistencies in witness accounts of the crash suggest, and the aftermath have been cited as potential evidence that something more was going on. There was also a lack of public viewing of her body. Diana's coffin was sealed before her funeral, leading some theorists to question whether she was actually inside. I'll be honest, it was a pretty horrendous crash.
Yeah.
I don't think you have an open casket.
No.
No.
And you definitely wouldn't allow the public to come and have a look.
No. I mean, that's why she's where her final resting place is in the middle of a lake.
Yeah.
You know, because there was so much attention. It's so easy now to go, well, why did they do all this? Because she was the number one celebrity and point.
Be digging her up, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, there've been terrible things happening. So that's why it was all the way it was. I mean, during the funeral service, her brother, Earl Spencer, I'm not talking about him really, but he got applauded during the funeral service. Because that was the feeling. And then
Laws breaker at a funeral.
Yeah.
You know you smashed the gig there, don't you?
Right.
You know you smashed it then.
Did you see what, when he spoke?
Yeah, because he was talking about how the paparazzi had hounded her and stuff. And also how the royal family hadn't supported her.
Yeah.
You know, which was true.
Allegedly, the only people that did see her in the open casket were Holly and Phil.
Very good.
I feel so dirty. Because that made me smile.
That's why Phil's gone to the island. He knows where she is.
He knows where they all are.
They all are.
No,
Elvis. Michael Jackson, they're all there. Marilyn Monroe, they're all
We're
there.
putting Schofield into the same mix as them.
Oh, wow.
Oh, God.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. They'll be like, oh, no, not you, mate. Not you.
Yeah.
So Diana's own statements, conspiracy theories also point to comments made by Diana herself and that they interpret as hints that she was contemplating disappearing. Diana famously stated that she felt her life was in danger and that she feared that the royal family or other forces might be trying to harm her. In a letter to her butler, Paul Burrell, Diana wrote that she was afraid of being killed in a car accident, whilst most people believe she was referring to a possible assassination. Conspiracy theories interpret these statements as evidence that she may have been planning to vanish to protect herself. There's also been some alleged sightings of Princess Diana.
Has there?
Yep. Over the years, there have been several unverified claims that Diana has been spotted alive. Unverified, who'd have thought? In different parts of the world. These sightings are often vague and unsubstantiated, but they have helped to keep the theory alive. Some people claim to have seen Diana in Europe, while others suggest that she might be living in the US or the Middle East under a new identity. They've not gone specific, really, there, have they?
There's no photos.
So only Europe, the US, or the Middle East. So that narrows it
the
down,
world,
doesn't it?
basically.
That narrows it down. So not Africa.
Maybe she keeps moving around.
Yeah.
I think she'd keep moving around.
Yeah, we've all seen the end of The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that.
She just keeps on moving.
Yeah.
The Littlest Hobo.
Yeah. Love that show.
I love that show. You're not buying into this one, are you?
No.
No, you're not.
She was a very dramatic. I mean, yes, she was a very dramatic woman. You know that, but that was also. But like we've all got a friend like that. It's a bit dramatic. Who's like,
I'm sitting right here, Hattie.
you know, who's like, there was 3 people in the marriage. You know, we all,
Yes.
Which wasn't wrong.
which wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
But because the royal family were taught not to talk like that,
Yes.
publicly, anyway.
But to kill her seems quite extreme.
Yeah, although I have another theory that maybe they were just trying to kill him, her boyfriend. But that's, yeah,
Oh, they were going for Dodie.
yeah,
Ah.
get rid of him. But I don't know. Or just hurt her quite badly so that she's just... Anyway,
They don't want to
but
take
no,
pictures of her anymore. Fucking hell.
Just a bit of a head injury.
That's one you've thrown into the mix there.
Yeah,
Hattie.
I've thrown that in.
Yeah.
I'm improvising.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think she faked her own death. It's a nice thing to believe, isn't it? With certain celebrities. I'd love to think some of them are still out there, but with her, no. I just don't think she would leave her boys.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Unless, like you say, she had a secret place that she's still seeing them, but that's too much hard work.
Mm-hmm.
No. Do you believe she...
No, they killed her.
Yeah.
They killed her.
I love your certainty.
Oh,
So
yeah,
exciting.
There are certain conspiracies he's very certain on.
Yeah.
This, Bigfoot, the
and
moon.
he convinces me.
Yeah. He's pretty compelling, isn't he? Yeah.
Well, this really was the first time I ever really heard about conspiracy theories. I was aware of the JFK ones, but there was a Mark Ronson, the writer Mark Ronson. John Ronson. Mark Ronson's a music producer.
Yeah.
I was going to say.
Amy Winehouse. John Ronson had a TV show in the late 90s called For the Love Of, and it would be people that were fanatical about a certain thing, and one of them was for the love of Diana conspiracies, and that set me off and on a crazy world. I mean, I'd met David Icke a couple of years before, so I was kind of aware, but that was the one like, oh, like Diana being, a bloodline of Jesus and all that. That's really kind of cool.
Okay.
There's loads, but the
Believe it though.
but it's on YouTube. It's on YouTube For the Love Of Diana Conspiracies, and it's a riveting watch.
My favourite thing about the lizard theory, the royal family lizard theory,
Yeah.
is Queen Elizabeth's name.
A lizard birth.
A lizard birth.
Of course.
All makes sense, doesn't it? And you thought that woman was just mad.
I am now thinking I wish I talked to her more. And this is what, the fact that all her family weren't talking to her was because
Truth, the truth seeker
They
is
just
the
didn't
lonely
want to hear the
burden.
truth.
they didn't want to hear the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that advert never did get put on TV.
Oh, that's
say
a
that.
conspiracy. One thing I will say, like Diana referred to the royal family as the reptiles, and she meant it seriously.
She knew.
She knew.
She knew.
Oh my God.
The theory that MI6 killed Princess Diana is a complex and controversial narrative that continues to captivate the public over 2 decades after her death. While numerous investigations have ruled out foul play, the persistence of the conspiracy theory can be attributed to a combination of circumstantial evidence, mistrust of the establishment, and the larger-than-life persona of Diana herself. Whether viewed as an innocent victim or of a tragic accident or a target of political intrigue, Diana's death remains a deeply emotional and enigmatic chapter in modern history. As long as unanswered questions remain, it is likely that conspiracy theories will continue to flourish.
The queen of our hearts.
So, I already know what the answer's going to be. But
England's
Hattie,
Rose.
was Princess Diana assassinated?
Yes.
I love the way you put your hands in the air.
No, sorry. No, I mean, unfortunately, yes.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I believe yes.
Okay. And your thoughts, as if I don't already know?
I believe they killed her.
Okay.
Yeah. Whoever they are.
Okay. I think you're both fucking mental, but I have to say, there's a lot of things about this that are suspicious. There's a lot of things that I think were covered up. I do always think that with a lot of these things. I think there's a lot of stuff that doesn't get released to the public because they don't want us to know that, and powers that be do have the ability to.
And that is royal family as well.
And that is royal family.
They love
Absolutely.
covering up.
Absolutely. I mean, Prince Andrew, it took for him to literally burn his entire career to the ground on Newsnight before it really hit the fan. But he'd been doing shit stuff for years before that. Do you know what I mean? So, okay, Hattie, would you like to look into this camera? Tell people where they can find you, where they can follow you, everything you'd like to promote.
Just go to my website, hattyashdown.com, and find out where you can. Oh, and listen to my podcast, Funny Mummies.
Yes, definitely do that.
You don't have to be funny or a mummy to listen to it.
Yes, we're neither, and we love it. Would you like the most acceptable Diana joke I could find?
I want to hear what an
hear
acceptable Diana joke
Okay,
is.
fine. It took me a while. I had to sift through a lot of these. So,
Really?
what did Prince Charles say when he heard the news?
I don't know. What did Prince Charles say when he heard the news?
Shall I put your motorbike back in the garage, Mum?
I love it.
You do, don't you? That's the end of the podcast. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Please like and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. The more lovely subscribers we get, the more episodes we'll make. And follow us on Instagram and TikTok for regular updates and exclusive videos at Believe Conspiracy Pod. We love you. Bye.